it's not hard to get in shape. The thing that is hard is mentally changing your mind to be in shape before you are in shape. Because when you don't have a set goal, every single thing you do sounds like a good idea. And that's when you get people who turn into addicts, and then they get depressed and their life spirals downhill because they never had something in their brain to tell them, hey, there's something more to life than hedonism and what feels good. Call that about a cup of fruit, a diet which is just like chicken, high protein.
The clients do the same stuff. I think it's 5:20 right now. Let's see. It's 5:18 right now. Just locked myself out of the house. I'm still gonna do my push-ups right now, but I'm gonna be locked out for a little bit. It is a beautiful Saturday morning in Colorado. I just woke up, did my push-ups, made my bed, took a shower. Now I'm gonna meditate. It's my morning routine that I do every single solitary morning. It kind of gets me into that go mode each day, gets me motivated to always do my best, you know, even when I wake up late, get locked out of the house. Yeah, I'm gonna meditate, read, and then I typically post on my story just to kind of show everyone and all my clients and stuff that I'm up, holding myself to the standards that I hold them to. And then I get right to work on my needle moving tasks that I set the night before. So I'm gonna show that to y'all. I'm gonna drink this bottle has a tracker on it. So I push one of those things in every time I drink one, and 5 of these is a gallon. So I drink about a gallon each day, and then in the morning, I add to my water, I take creatine, as well as light salt, as well as pink salt. All kind of like a brain booster. I used to add caffeine to this, but I started having like withdrawals once caffeine wears off, and I don't like them at all. So I just started taking this instead. But yeah, this is electrolytes. So the light salt has potassium iodide as well as magnesium in it. And then the salt's just normal sodium. So it's all electrolytes. It all kind of boosts cognitive performance because that's kind of how the neurons in your brain work, is the electrolytes. And then the creatine also has been proven to kind of boost cognitive performance. And I also do that because I lift a lot too. So drink this right before I work, and then I'm gonna get down to doing some work for y'all. This is my laptop currently. It always has to be plugged in because I don't want to invest in getting a MacBook yet, because I honestly haven't got enough money. Every time I get a new client, I just pour it into more courses that I'm learning so that I can provide a better service. So yeah, I'm gonna show you all. This is what I start each of my days with. So this is my morning routine that I laid out the day before. I did all of these. If you saw my Instagram, you saw that I posted a book that I read on my story. I make all these needle moving tasks the day before, and then I got my daily habits: 1 gallon of water, 10,000 steps, lift, take supplements. I have not taken all my supplements today because I like to take them after I eat. I also fast in the morning. So y'all probably noticed I didn't eat anything because I'm able to focus better when I fast. And then also something that I do is a principle called deep work. So deep work is essentially when you cut out all other distractions, put your phone away. I typically put my hood up and I put my headphones on. And then I immediately, after marking off my morning routine, get right to work on the needle moving tasks, which, as you can see, I'm filming the day in the life right now. And then I'm making the modules on downloading and using Opal, which is an app I highly recommend y'all download. But yeah. So it's been about 54 minutes, give or take, and I typically take a break during my deep work.
Right now I'm studying a course that'll help me make better content, and I'm having a banana. I don't typically eat for the first couple hours, but today I'm going to Water World, and I need to get some food in, so I'm having a banana right now. We take about a 10-minute or so break, just because I've noticed personally that if I work all day without taking any breaks, which I can do, which I'm capable of, I burn out much faster. So at the end of the day, I tend to crash out. I get like super anxious, and it just makes me feel like shit. So I notice that when I actually do things to preserve the longevity of myself, like prioritizing sleep, prioritizing nutrition, as well as prioritizing short breaks every 50 minutes or so while I'm working, I'm able to work a lot longer, be a lot more consistent in the content that I'm putting out, and I'm able to actually make a lot of progress. And that's something that I spent over $1,000 to figure out at a entrepreneurial event that I went to, was that the reason I kept burning out. My dad plays the drums. He's playing them downstairs right now. But it's something I didn't realize, is that the reason why I kept continuously burning out was because I wasn't getting enough sleep, I wasn't eating well enough, and I wasn't actually taking breaks. I was just constantly pushing, and it gets to the point where I have to force myself to take a day off, because I run a business, right? And so every single day is the same as the last. I don't really like have weekends. I don't have like a set clock out time. And so I get so wrapped up in the work that I'm doing, and I'll start to burn out, and I have to force myself to actually take rest days and relax, which is hard for me. As in the gym as well, like there's days when I'll go to the gym and I'm like, I'll overwork myself. He's banging it out right now. But I'll overwork myself, and it gets to the point where I completely crash out. I have like some sort of like mental breakdown. Like I get super anxious, and it's just not an enjoyable experience. And so that's kind of why I take these breaks, is because it's all part of the longevity. There's some people who can live off of 4 hours of sleep a night. I personally cannot, because I burn out. And I think as I get more attuned to it, I'll be able to get less sleep and work harder for longer. But it's all just a skill that you develop. The ability to focus and do deep work, the ability to dial in your nutrition, the ability to know your body well enough to the point where you see, okay, this happens, and the last time this happened, I burnt out, so I'm going to change this up, and I'm going to dial this in, switch up some variables, and now I'm not burning out. It's all a skill. The ability to focus, the ability to know your body when it's going to burn out, the ability to track your macros every day like I do. It's all a skill that can be built, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize, is all of these things that I do in my day-to-day, I was nowhere doing these things. I'd stay up till 9 a.m. every single day, and it would just put me on a horrible path. I wouldn't get any of the habits done or tasks done that I needed to get, because I was waking up and half the damn day was over. And then when I started waking up at like 6 a.m., 5 a.m., or 4 a.m., I'm able to actually get all these tasks done. My days are a lot more productive, and I feel a lot better. And I know that it's difficult. It's difficult to get up that early, but once you get the systems that I have implemented into my life, you're able to get up on time. Having set routines, set night routines to actually get you into sleep mode, set morning routines to get you into work mode, just routines throughout the day that allow you to kind of piggyback off the next, to be able to just flow through your day-to-day to make progress, is something that has helped me a lot. So anyways, that about makes up my break. I'm going to log that banana in MyFitnessPal, and then I'm going to keep working. And I got to go to Water World at about 9:30 or so. And currently it's 7:58, so I'll show you boys that stuff. It'll be fun. So I just finished that deep work that I was doing, and now I'm going to be going to the Water World. The thing about deep work that's very important is to not allow your phone to get in the way, because every single time you check your phone, every single time you get distracted by something, you lose focus. It's
detrimental to your ability to actually retain information. If you don't have the ability to focus on some clear task, you are fucked. Because deep work, the ability to lock in and focus on something really hard without distraction, do not disturb on everything, right? I don't let anyone contact me while I'm working. The better your ability is to actually do work. And that applies to schoolwork, that applies to work you're doing at a fucking job. Anything that requires focus, if you don't know how to focus, you're going to be fucked. So learn how to do deep work. I recommend reading the book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. It'll change your life. It's changed mine. We got the fit for the water park. I just want to talk about really how when I was younger I wasn't able to actually feel comfortable going to a water park because I was kind of a fat kid. And it's kind of crazy coming back and looking even at myself in the mirror and realizing truly how far I've come, you know, just completely overcoming those demons and feeling uncomfortable in my skin and just feeling like the world was against me just because I had the unfortunate, I suppose you could say, circumstances of being a chubby kid. You know, I didn't know how to get in shape. I didn't know that eating too much would result in me feeling that way. I was never taught. I was raised by, my mom was overweight. I was raised mostly by her, and so I picked up her habits. And I suppose now, like looking back and, you know, seeing myself in the mirror, you know, it's makes me proud of myself, really, honestly. Like, to go to a water park and to be proud, to feel comfortable in my own skin, you know. I don't know. That's just a thought. Anything is possible, you know. I always thought that I was to be helping people, like, overcome the mental blockages that I had where I just thought that I was doomed to fail, and that, you know, now I can act sort of as a guiding light for those people because I'm clear proof that I changed my life. So,
cool, man. Yeah, no. All right. Love you. I really wanted to use YouTube as sort of a platform to show other people kind of what's possible, right? Because I remember being in a place where I felt completely hopeless, completely useless, and like nothing was going well. And then I got heartbroken. I got really heartbroken when I was about 16 years old, and I kind of just gave everything that I had to a woman because that was all I had at the time. I wasn't in shape. I didn't believe in myself, really. I didn't have any interests or hobbies. And that experience with those drugs that I overdosed on and kind of facing death firsthand, and I genuinely thought I was going to die. I realized that all I wanted in life was a second chance. And it feels like I got it, you know? And who knows if you know, maybe what I was taking was laced and I could have almost died. I don't know. But regardless, it felt like my life was ending, and I believed truly that it was. And then I kind of woke up and I realized how selfish I had been, you know, and it's really something I want to emphasize, you know, like my heart hurts when I think about my family situation with my sister who is addicted to pot and is hurting me and is hurting everyone just by the selfishness of her hedonistic pursuits, and it really is unfortunate. I think some people you can do it in moderation and you'll be fine, but it never worked for me. I was never able to do it in moderation. I was always 0 to 100, and so I had to realize that there's patterns. You know, if every time I smoke weed, I stop chasing my goals, then I need to either sacrifice my goals or I need to sacrifice weed. And y'all obviously know which one I chose. And then it was, well, I either need to sacrifice alcohol or I need to sacrifice my sanity, right? Because I'm getting involved with these women that drink all the time. A lot of the times people don't even consciously have goals. They don't have anything that they're working towards. And so when they smoke weed and when they drink alcohol, it's like, oh, fuck it, life is a game and I'm just playing it like it's fucking Minecraft, Whereas when you have a set goal and you're like, well, I actually wouldn't mind having, a good amount of money. I wouldn't mind being able to take care of my family. I wouldn't mind being able to cover dinners for people in my friend group or cover dinners for my family members and truly, pay off my parents' debt and stuff like that. I made the choice to fix all my problems so I could help other people fix their problems. And it's so much more fulfilling than, substances that just cause people to destroy their families over it, Like, my dad was telling me that my sister sold all of my electronics that I was wanting to show to my kids one day just so she could buy some pot. And it's just like, God, man. It's not even her fault, But because I don't see her as her addiction. And like I said, shaming people just perpetuates the negative cycle. Ooh, it's a cobra. That's pretty nice. But yeah, it's some real ass shit. And it's very, very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate how people don't recognize the benefits of long-term gratification. And the thing that truly taught me that was going to the gym, was being able to actually see that, well, now wait a minute, if I do X, Y, and Z, I gain the ability to take care of myself. I gain the ability to enjoy how I look in my skin and feel comfortable being myself. Just because in this moment I decided to do something for the future of myself and the future of my family and the future of the world by not choosing to be so selfish as to constantly watch porn and smoke weed and just do these things that make the world a worse place just because I think it feels good. It upsets me. It upsets me that some people can never realize. So, some people, they never wake up to the importance of actually being intentional in their day-to-day. And it's so sad because, like, in that moment when I felt like my life was going to end, all I wanted was to live again, but this time to restart. And it feels like I got reborn almost, and I got given a second chance. And it's so hard to try to get that across to people who are not listening to the fact that they're just wasting their potential. And every single week there's someone who shits on me. Every single day almost there's someone who I can tell is shit talking me or judging me for recording a video. And it's just like, I can't let it get to me, I don't let it get to me. But some people don't even realize how deep this shit goes. And it kind of reminds me to just be more polite to other people because, everyone's suffering through something. But, yeah. It's those day-to-day tasks that you do, those promises that you hold to yourself. It's making your bed every morning and doing push-ups in the morning and drinking a gallon of water and doing stuff for yourself that allows you to serve other people. And that's what's fulfilling. It's not the hose. It's not the water. It is the water. It's not the hose. That's funny. It's not the women that you chase. It's not the weed you smoke. It's not the alcohol you drink to get the women that you chase, just to hide from all your problems. It's to face your problems head on and to say, you know what? I'm a fucking man and I got fucking balls and I'm gonna do something about this because it's my responsibility for why I am exactly where I am, whether I believe it or not. Because you get people like my sister who she's a victim to everything. She sold my video games that I was going to show to my children one day for her own fucking addiction. And she still believes that she's the victim. She still says to me, I can't believe Dad kicked me out of the house. And it's just like, God fucking damn. You are so ignorant and blind to your own, to how inconsiderate you are. And everyone's inconsiderate, you know, everyone's blind. I can't tell someone else about the splinter in their eye when I've got a fucking plank in my own, because I've got my own issues too. But it really is unfortunate. Very, very emotional set of circumstances for me to make this day in the life, but it really is. I mean, this is what I'm going through right now, and that's why I speak about, you know, how bad these vices are, because your tolerance can only get so high until you just need to do it all the time to feel normal. And then you'll do everything in your power just to feel normal. Because when you're smoking weed all the time, you're never really getting high. You're just doing it to feel normal. And you'll not stop at anything to feel normal, even if it's completely disregarding yourself, but more importantly, disregarding the other people around you who care about you and want to help you, and you just can't listen because you're ignorant. You're just drifting through life with no purpose, wondering why you go nowhere. It's because you never set a where to begin with. You never set something you never set a North Star. You never had something to aim at, and that's why you never hit it. And that's why I emphasize the importance of personal development and doing these things, is because you might just find your purpose after all that. And that's even psychologically proven. They talk about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Basically, at the bottom, it's physiological needs. And as you go up this pyramid, you're able to be conscious of greater things, right? If life is a constant state of discomfort, your needs are to not feel uncomfortable. It's to return to homeostasis. And that's why my sister will pawn fucking video games, because her life feels so miserable in her withdrawals. That's so sad. But you get like that even if you're like when you're doing your vices as well, with social media addiction, with all that stuff. You don't realize it consciously, but you're doing it just to feel normal. And when all you're trying to get back to is a state of normal, you're never trying to get better. Yet when you start to chase better, when you start to chase just getting healthy and destroying your vices, you're able to transcend in consciousness, and you're able to see it, the bigger picture. You're able to be conscious of the fact that life isn't against you, and that you have the ability to change your life. And the unfortunate thing about a lot of it is some people never make it out. It is possible. It's possible to get out of all those vices. And it's not even that hard. It's mostly just your belief systems. And that's primarily it. I mean, it's mostly an issue with your self-image. You don't believe that you can get out, and so you can't. And most people don't really understand the concept of if you believe it, you can achieve it. But it's some real shit. Especially like positive thinking and stuff like that, and being able to have conscious control over what you are thinking. You directly are what you think. I think that was what Luke Belmar said, the most impactful thing that he was ever told. The most important word of advice that he was ever told is that you are what you think. You are every single thought that comes out of your brain. And those people that are poor, they're thinking poor thoughts. The people that are rich, they're thinking rich thoughts. The only difference between the people who are poor or unhealthy and people who are rich and in shape is that the people that are rich and in shape are the only ones that'll say that they're self-made. Most of the other people are in denial. They don't want to admit to themselves that they're 100% responsible for the circumstances that they're in. And that's exactly why they remain stuck. Because the more that you tell people that it's not your fault and you can't control it, the more you believe that, and the more that it's true. We're about almost at Waterworld, though, yeah! I'm gonna go to Cinzetti's after all this, and I'm going to show you all how I can eat at a place like Cinzetti's, because you ultimately can eat healthy no matter where you go, most likely, especially if it's a buffet place like Cinzetti, while on a cut, while losing weight. Just so y'all can get some extra value from all that. So I said no turn on red. I just ran a red light. My boys are not here yet, so I'm just gonna kill this time doing content. I was overweight when I was a little kid, and I kind of have I have gyno, and it's kind of like a remembrance of that, I suppose you could say. And it's funny because I initially started working out because I wanted to get rid of my man boobs, and then they're just like eternally there. And so I could get surgery, but it's like $6,000, and I don't want to spend that right now on that. But it's crazy to me just feeling comfortable in my own skin. Seriously, I mean, being able to be out in public, taking a video of myself, you know, it takes a lot of confidence to be able to do that. And the confidence that I never used to have. I never used to have the confidence to be able to even film myself in public, to even just be myself. And then it's like when you get jacked, it's almost like you get permission to be yourself. At least it feels like it. At least from my perspective, I really got the permission to be myself once I started taking better care of myself. Because before I was kind of just ashamed and always thought that everyone was looking at me. And now if people look at me, I'm just like look at me, motherfucker, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just really, I don't know. Yeah, but you can see the gyno right there. It's interesting because I remember being in a place. I used to go to Elitch's when I was a little kid, which is a amusement park in Denver. I was born in Colorado. That's where I currently am. I wasn't really able to have as much fun as I could have, simply because I was overweight. And I just thought everyone was looking at me, and I was just a very self-conscious little kid. You know, and I even see a little kid right now who's kind of overweight. He's wearing a shirt, and perhaps it's because he doesn't want to get sunburnt, but you know, I mean, for me it was because I was overweight. The world just treats you differently based on the thoughts that you have. When you have a negative self-image, you hold yourself back without even realizing it. Like, there's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it talks about how there's like a salesman who had the self-image of being only a 5K a year salesman. So he went to poor locations, rich locations, and he always stopped making sales or worked as hard as he possibly could until he got $5,000 in sales. And a lot of y'all are living life with a self-image that is constantly being your ceiling, and you don't even realize it. You don't even realize that your belief systems are actually what's holding you back. Like, everyone knows how to get in shape. Everyone knows exactly what they should be doing. I mean, eating less, moving more, maybe going to the gym a little bit. But even after you learn even all the mechanics of how to get in shape, you know, hypertrophy and time under tension and all the nutrition stuff that you need to know, why can't people still be consistent? And it's because they don't believe deep down that they can be consistent. They don't believe that they are the self-image of someone who is in shape or healthy. I always think about when someone goes to a New Year's resolution, let's go to that, and they have the self-image of their current self, but their New Year's resolution is to get in shape. And so they work out really hard, and then they miss a couple days, and then they're like, oh, I failed. Whereas for me, who has the self-image of someone who's in shape and goes to the gym, and I already see myself as 12% body fat, even though I'm not, like, clearly, I act in accordance with someone who is 12% body fat. And so even if I, like, slip up, I'm like, well, I'm still going to make it, you know? Even if I don't go to the gym for a week, I'm like, oh, well, I'm still a gym goer, right? Because my self-image is of somebody, my identity is interwoven with somebody who is in shape and goes to the gym. And a lot of people don't realize that there's these subconscious modes in their brain that's just constantly affecting them. And the thing that's actually really helped me overcome that is one, getting in shape, because it showed me that I was capable of changing my own circumstances in my life. But secondly, it was visualizing myself as having already achieved all of my goals. And then naturally, by affirming to myself that I am that person, it naturally aligned me to those habits that I needed to do in order to be 12% body fat, in order to get in shape and to do the things that I need to ultimately do to be where I want to be in life. And we have this notion, especially in the self-improvement space, that you just need to struggle through every day, and that if you
if you work really, really hard today, it's going to benefit you in the future, which is 100% true. You need to work hard to get in shape and to do the things that you need to be doing. But secondly, you need to mentally be aligned to that in the first place, because otherwise you're just always going to regress back to the mean. And the mean, or the average of who you are, is basically what your self-image is. What things you've aligned yourself with to be where you are today. And so most people don't realize that literally you exactly are what you think. You are every single thing that you think, whether positive or negative, or even based upon how you judge other people. You know, I even think about how I was being judgmental towards my sister. Later that night I felt really shitty because I felt judged by other people. Whereas when you can just kind of show love to everyone, kind of be in that loving frequency and just be like, oh yeah, like this person's a person, this person's a person. They're all just, you know, made in the image of God, so to speak. You're able to flow through life a lot easier. And not only that, but when you come up to someone and you treat them with love, you know, loving them as a fellow human, as a brother or a sister, rather than some other person who's scary or whatever your primal instincts want to think, or your lower frequency, I suppose you could say, want to think. People are a lot more receptive to that. Say you go to like a nice family Mexican restaurant, right, where they have values of, I think Mexicans especially have the tendency to have a lot stronger values of family than Western Americans, white people specifically. But you go to a Mexican restaurant, they make you feel like home, and it's like, oh, you know, a lot of you need to realize that you have the ability to make other people feel like they're at home. You know what I'm saying? And it all just comes with showing other people love, like they're your brother. You know what I'm saying? I won't really be able to bring my phone on rides because my back of my glass is cracked. My stuff is slapped right now. Like, I really am. To be honest, I'm writing off Waterworld as a business expense, and I'm down to like my last $100 right now in my business bank account. And I'm making this video, you know, just I have faith, you know, that it's gonna work out, and then the people I need to help are gonna come towards me, and so that's also why I don't panic. I don't freak out about not having very much money currently, you know. But it does get scary, you know. But you just got to keep faith and that the world has what's best for you, and you just got to keep putting in the work, you know. Because I have the self-image of someone who's got a lot more money, and so I believe that it'll come to me. But I'm also going to work for it, like it will, you know. You think about people talk about how you need to pray like it's up to God, but work like it's up to you, and I live by that. I really started to see results once I started actually putting faith in. And a better version of myself, a better life, and just a better future for me and everyone else in general. Just believing in the best for others and believing in the best for me, and always seeing the best in people. It has really allowed me to thrive mentally, physically, and sooner or later financially. So, yeah. But I'm pumped to have a day at Waterworld. My ass is probably going to get sunburnt as fuck. I'm leaving the Waterworld early because I need to go to the gym still. So I'm trying to catch a place that I can lift in Denver right now, but before that, I'm grabbing more water. This is what I use to track my water. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I walk 10,000 steps and drink a gallon of water every single solitary day. So even on days I'm going to Waterworld and stuff like that, I'm prioritizing that. And then, like I said, later with Sinzetti's, I'm going to be, I have the tendency to overeat when I go to places like that, as does anyone. So for most of the day I've been fasting. I had that banana, but other than that I had about like half a little bit of a pretzel. Like, it's probably like a 2-inch long pretzel. And then I'm gonna lift right now, pretty much with no carbs in me, which I don't recommend typically, but because I have the tendency to overeat and I'm committed to the cut, I'm doing that to guarantee that I don't go too far. So somehow managed to survive Waterworld without getting a sunburn with my pasty ass white self. So I'm pretty pumped. But yeah, it's a lot more packed than it was. But yeah, I mean,
The thing that I just think about is, you know, I wouldn't be in this current place if it wasn't for the stuff that y'all see me do every day on the Instagram stories. For those of you that came from that, I wouldn't be able to, you know, even like feel comfortable having my shirt off. I wouldn't be able to even go to Waterworld, because that's how I make my living, if it wasn't for those things I do in my day-to-day, you know, prioritizing a gallon of water each day, even on days when I'm going to Waterworld, taking 10,000 steps each day, even on days when I'm going to Waterworld. It's these little standards that you hold yourself to. It's these things that you prioritize that determine ultimately where you're gonna go. And you always fall down to your level of standards. And so if you continuously raise your baseline, you know, every single time you fall into, let's say, a rut, my hair is not doing me right. That chlorine is messing with my roots. But the higher of standards that you hold yourself to, the higher your baseline, the more you just get better on the worst days, even on days when you're going to Waterworld and stuff like that. Like y'all are gonna see later, you're gonna see how someone who's cutting down to 12% body fat would eat at a place like Senzetti's, who came from a past of, you know, obesity and food addiction. So I'm pumped for that, but I'll see y'all on the way to the whatever gym I decide to go to. Found a little gymnasium.
The fasting, it probably isn't helping.
And lock it down, and then kind of lock your shoulders as well, and then just try to emphasize like squeezing up as you do it. Like I try to imagine there's like something between my pecs that I'm squeezing other than the microphone. Yeah. Everything right now, you watching this video was an effect. I mean, you first thought, oh, I'm gonna go onto YouTube, and then you click the video, right? And that's just one example of how expansive that idea is, right? I mean, I'm making this video right now because 2.5 years ago, I said that I was gonna be a fitness coach, and I wrote it down. And every single goal that I wrote down is coming to fruition because I kind of programmed my mind onto that goal, which is crazy to think about because a lot of people don't think they can change their life because you can't. You can't change your life in the current moment. You can't start going to the gym in the current moment. You have to first identify as someone who goes to the gym, kind of establish habits and get into kind of a hypnotic rhythm towards those habits. And then eventually you're going to the gym, 2 years later you're jacked, and people act like you exist when before they didn't, which is insane to think about. I mean, leaving Waterworld, I've got a girlfriend, love her to death, by the way, but I was getting attention from women, like obvious attention. And I remember when I was out of shape, I literally was treated like I didn't exist. And I also kind of counted myself out, like I kind of carried my head low and stuff like that. But there's something to be said about that. Lifting weights gives you the ability to be social. It gives you the ability to be looked up upon and to be a role model to those around you. And it's such a wonderful thing. I don't know. The gym is going to the gym and getting into a consistent routine is the best decision I think I've made in my entire life ever. A lot of people, they don't know how to get into that habit, or they don't believe that they can get in shape. And I was like that too until I realized that I just needed to kind of change my belief systems. And not only that, but I needed to set some solid goals. The thing that really got me into the gym, which is a very key lesson, was I was heartbroken, right? So I was already kind of in the gym before that, but I never really was intentional about it, right? Because I always kind of had super bad self-image issues. And I was heartbroken, and I would constantly, I didn't realize it, but I'd constantly visualize me being super jacked and that somehow getting the girlfriend that I was with back. She was horrible. I'm glad that never happened. But the point being is that is what elicited change, was me visualizing my outcome of me being jacked and her seeing me as jacked and then me winning or something stupid like that, right? It was completely spiteful and not how I am anymore. But there's something to be said about that, and it's the fact that when you visualize something, when you imagine it happening vividly and you think about it frequently, and then especially when you think about it frequently while actively doing those things to reach those goals, like the steps towards getting 12% body fat, visualizing you being 12% body fat, or even imagining the feeling of like the skin tightness on your abs or something while you are 12% body fat, laying down at the beach or something like that. Your brain starts to believe a lot more that it's possible, because your brain doesn't know the difference between something that's fake or something that's real. And that's why nightmares are so scary, because you wake up, you're not in any physical danger, but you might be on edge for the rest of the day because your brain's fear centers are still firing 24/7. And it's something that a lot of people don't really realize. They always try to change an effect by changing an effect. Reality, currently, you watching this video, being an effect. Whereas you first need to mentally change yourself towards a reality of you being at that goal, or imagining you having already achieved that goal, kind of saying to yourself, this is me, I've already achieved this goal. Or not only that, but seeing someone who has what you want and being like, well, if he's a person and I'm a person, then I can fucking do this. Once you get that mentality, reality begins to kind of bend towards your will, and it begins to work with you instead of alongside you. Instead of you having to put in super hard work every single day, just painstaking effort to get what it is you want, you just allow yourself to have it, and then eventually it comes. Because with enough thought, you start to get intuition. You start to get these little messages from God, or whatever you want to call it, where it says, oh, don't hang out with this group of people, don't hang out with this person, because you compare every single thing in your life to your goal, right? And that's how you reach it. It's like a heat-seeking, well, not a heat-seeking missile. It's like a missile device, right? It's like a servo mechanism for a missile, right? A missile works by not hitting everything else. That's how it works. And that's how you and the goal setting mechanism in your brain works as well. You set target on a goal and it's like, well, it's not that goal, so I'm not doing it. Well, it's not that goal, so I'm doing it, right? And that's why you can get me. In case you don't know, I was a full-time student with a full ride plus getting paid $2,500 per semester, and I dropped out because this is what I'm pursuing. It's my goal. I can't. When I was consistently in school, I was like, this isn't going to help me reach my goals, right? And this is why I emphasize the importance of having a goal in your career, in your health, in your relationships, in your life, a direction for where it is you're going, because most people don't realize it, but it's the scariest part about making goals is making the goal, because everything else is kind of just insight, and you just execute on what your brain's telling you what to do or what not to do. And then once you can just sit back, relax, and let the goal setting mechanism in your subconscious just work out the tasks that you give it, chill out and live in the moment, and don't try to like change the current moment or not try to change your entire life in the current moment. For example, oh, I need to get to the gym. Oh my gosh, it's the brand new year, so I need to get a New Year's resolution. That doesn't work. That's not how it works, because mentally, you are not someone who goes to the gym. But the more you visualize yourself being at the gym, the more you affirm to yourself that your identity is changing with the habits that you're instilling, the easier it is to actually convince your brain that what you're doing is right or wrong. And the thing is the brain doesn't know the difference between good and bad. It just knows what something is. It doesn't think in positives or negatives. It just thinks in is or is not is. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you feed your brain negative thoughts, like affirmations of negativity, saying, oh, I am depressed, I am anxious, I am this, or I have this, like it's a uncurable disease, your brain is going to start being programmed to it. It's going to think, okay, well, this is true. But what you need to do is instead, when you have these negative thoughts arise, you just need to tell it to shut the fuck up. Genuinely, you can say it out loud, because your brain's going to be like, okay, well, this advice I'm giving my forebrain, which is my conscious five senses, what I'm able to look and observe and think, says it's not effective. And so I'm not going to feed into it. But a lot of people, they do the exact opposite. They feed into the negativity, they attribute it to their identity, and they think, oh, well, I got anxious this day, so then I must have anxiety, or I did this, and so I must be a narcissist. And then the more you think about how you might be a narcissist, the more you start acting like a narcissist, because that is just how your brain works. Whatever you feed it is what it gets set to as a goal. And so if you don't consciously set your goals by reading out, I will have this type of relationship by doing 3 ways that you would actually genuinely get that relationship. And you don't read it off often and visualize the attributes of a partner, don't be surprised when you end up with a shitty girlfriend, right? And that's one of the most valuable things I could have learned, because there's a lot of girls that I just completely dropped off the face of the earth because I was just like, we are so different and I've got goals and this isn't going to work, right? Whereas before, when I had no goals, I'd be with the first woman who would glance at me, and I got treated like shit because the first woman who glances at you that you choose is probably going to be shitty, right? And it was. And so the importance of being intentional with your goals and programming your brain intentionally to what those goals are is so important, because you are able to have a say in what is right and what is wrong, right? But a lot of people, they're subconsciously programming their own mind to be negative. So they're thinking, oh, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. And then their brain thinks, okay, I'm depressed and anxious. What does a depressed and anxious person do? Oh, well, I listen to Lil Peep. Oh, well, then Lil Peep talks about smoking weed all the time and doing cocaine. And then you get all these like goth retards. Sorry if you're a goth retard, but you get what I'm saying. And I need to work on not saying that word because it's not cool. But there's really something here, because I went from completely feeling down and out, right? And it's hard to say when I'm jacked now and I'm getting fucking complimented by random people, and I seem like I was just born jacked, you know? At least that's how I would see myself now if I was still in my old headspace when I was overweight. I'd be like, oh, I wish I had the luck of being someone who was fat. And the thing is it's not hard to get in shape. The thing that is hard is mentally changing your mind to be in shape before you are in shape. Because if you're always fighting against your own mind, you're always going to regress to the mean. You're always going to regress to your baseline, and your baseline and your self-image is always going to be set at whatever you tell yourself, whatever your I am statements are. And then you never make progress. Whereas when you can actively change the words that are coming out of your mouth to say, I will have this by this date by doing this and that, and I am insert positive attribute there, you'll also find evidence for that, because your brain sees that as a goal as well, right? And so the importance of setting a specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goal is that it gives your brain something to work with. Because when you don't have a set goal, every single thing you do sounds like a good idea. And that's when you get people who turn into addicts, and then they get depressed and their life spirals downhill, because they never had something in their brain to tell them, hey, there's something more to life than hedonism and what feels good.
Bro, that cat is actually so fucking cute. That's gotta be like at least 500 grams of protein, bro. I bet he wish he wasn't in that cage. I think that cat's got schizophrenia, bro. He's playing with nothing.
So I got my boy Camden holding this, but this is the first thing I'm eating at Cinzetti's. It's just peel and eat shrimp. And I think the only other foods I'm really gonna be able to get are, they have, I think, like some garlic chicken as well as something else. But I mean, just about anywhere you go, there's still probably an option that you can choose in order to meet your goals if you want. And so that is why I'm getting peel and eat shrimp right now with lemon. But I'll show you boys what else I get. Homie Brandon filming this video. Now I got fruit and a bunch of chicken. I pretty much haven't had anything else to eat all day. So I'm taking it easy on the chicken, but I'd call that about a cup of fruit. I don't bring my scale to places. I'm not that anal about it, but I do insist on still continuing to remain in my diet, which is just like chicken, high protein stuff, things like that. Especially with going out to places like Cinzetti's, you don't know how much oil they're frying stuff with, and especially when you're on a cut, you kind of have to take it easy, because most of the time they're using an excess of oil just because it tastes good. But that's what I mean right now. Fruit, chicken, then I think like a little bit of veggie caprese. I don't know what this is, but I wanted to try it. So because I was wise, knowing that I was coming here later, I'm able to have a little bit of dessert, believe it or not. And I got some chicken breast, some pork loin. I'm trying out the meatloaf that they've got. And then I have no clue what this is.
Gavin would be like,
cannoli, chicken. I'm going straight for the breast on the chicken. You can tell it's the breast because they're really big. It's really big. Oh yeah, for sure. But happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. So I'm back from Cinzetti's. I am looking rough. That chlorine did me so dirty. But I ate a lot at Cinzetti's, but it was all chicken, meat. I had a little bit of dessert, as y'all saw, but I just got back from Cinzetti's, and I'm back home. And this is what I typically do each night. So it's currently 8:46, and from around 8 or so, I plan my day for I plan my next day today. And so I go into my little journal that I have in here. I still got one of these bottles left before I've drank a whole gallon. And so I'm going to be finishing that off. I got about 15,000 steps today. And I honestly didn't track all my macros from Cinzetti's, but I ate primarily chicken breast. So I did probably overeat, but I also walked way more steps than usual. I did not finish my needle moving tasks today, but I did finish the day in the life video. So I'm going to take my tasks from today that I didn't finish. I'm going to go to June 1st, set those up. And then I kind of grade myself as well at the end of the day. So I have like a reflection where I go in. I did not complete my 5 needle moving tasks, and Cinzetti's and Waterworld blocked me. 3 wins, 8 primarily protein at Cinzetti's. The last time I went there, I completely overate on like pasta. I didn't have any pasta at all, which is good. Walked 15,000 steps, and so I also count the wins that I have as well. I don't count the losses because it kind of makes your brain only look for losses, if that makes sense. And so I count my 3 wins, and then I just reflect on where I like fell short, just so I can improve. So I review what I did that didn't work, so I can kind of adjust it for the next day. But yeah, the largest thing is just the day. I plan my day out the day before, so that after I do that morning routine that y'all saw this morning, I can get right on those tasks. So I like to do my marketing in the morning, like my scripting, editing, and stuff like that. I'm gonna post reels as well as this video. And then also with all these tasks too, I instead of just saying do this, do that, I say like I must do this. And then I also say like at a specific time, I will make 2 reels after posting my day in the life. Post all 5 story pillars. So I have different pillars that I post on my Instagram, where I do like, sometimes it's macros, sometimes it's my nutrition, and I talk about why I'm eating what I'm eating. And I also do like a wisdom post, so like books that I'm reading, all that stuff. And then I get my morning routine off, so make bed, cold shower, push-ups. I post those on my Instagram in the morning. And then I meditate, and then I read, plus post about what I read, just to spread some value to everyone who comes to my Instagram. And then daily habits right now, what I'm having to do is walk 10,000 steps, drink a gallon of water, lift, because I'm lifting 5 to 6 times a week right now, and then meet macros, meet and count every macro. And these are all aligned with the goals that I have, right? So my biggest needle movers are mostly designed around building this business. So I have like modules for my programs for my clients to follow, and then I also have marketing and then learning, so I can do like other investments besides that, and then content So I do marketing, building, posting, and then my habits are for my personal fitness goals. So it's 10,000 steps, drink 1 gallon of water, lift, meet and count every single macro. And then those are for my goals of being 12% body fat by the end of this year. So that's what I have to do each day in order to make that work. And that's why I've been successfully eating out. And so I set those the day before. And then when I wake up in the morning, like you guys saw today, I'd get up and then I'd immediately start cranking out all the tasks that I have. So, yeah. And then I just climb into bed. It's about 8:53 right now, so normally I'm not on my laptop. I typically plan my day around 8:15 or so. But because I was driving back from Sunzetti's and hanging out with buddies, I'm late to that. But right after this, I typically get off my phone, and then I get ready for bed because I wake up pretty early in the morning. So, and I also write down what I'm grateful for as well. And then also, if I lived like this for 90 days, would I be proud of who I become? Because it kind of just makes me reflective about if what I'm doing is actually impactful or not. So that's a day in the life. And then I get up in the morning and I just repeat it again, where I just grind out work, market. I have client calls typically during the week. So this was a weekend, this was a day where I don't have any sales calls or any client calls. But yeah. And then I just post advice. I'm always learning, always providing value, always making content, and then always improving my fitness so that I can help other people do the same. So, yeah, that is it.